Okay, round one. This is a nice hand. We get to go skiff into brawler. So turn 3, get the menace. Plus we have the awakening for the skiff too, which is nice. So it's actually a good hand. I mean, technically we could go skiff into Gear Smasher and attack with the skiff, but I'd rather get the menace down ASAP. Okay, Fire Weaver. That's fine. Let's get the skiff down here. So we're not going to be able to attack with the skiff because we're using it to ramp into the brawler, but that's not a huge deal. So red-white aggro, maybe? Ooh, Freighter. Yeah, Freighter's good. Freighter is good. Very strong. There's a Scrounging Bandar. Let's get our brawler down for now. So it looks like we're going to have to go defensive here, which is a little scary, but 2 cards left in our opponent's hand. We're going to have to just hope, I think, that our Lifecraft Awakening gets there. So I guess my opponent doesn't care if their Fire Weaver dies because it makes their patrol bigger, but we're still definitely blocking here. So I don't really agree with that play by my opponent, but we'll take it. All right, so options here. If I do the Lifecraft Awakening on the skiff, I can make it a 5/6, which I might just have to do to kill the Freighter and hope that the 2 cards in my opponent's hand cannot deal with the 5/6 skiff that we're going to kill the Freighter with, which means we're going to take 4 more points of damage. That's acceptable. We're just going to hang out here. We're going to use Lifecraft Awakening. And remember, I actually have to crew it because Awakening does not make it a creature because it's a vehicle. So we have to hang out here. And we only take 4 points of damage if my opponent has another creature, which we kind of just want them to... If they have a creature, I just kind of want them to tap out and play it, just so I don't have to worry about any sort of shenanigans, because we are banking pretty hard here. Okay, this is good news. So hopefully they just attack with the Freighter, and we get exactly what we want, which is a huge skiff that kills their Freighter. So they get their servo. Freighter gets buffed. We're going to activate Skiff now. If they have Built to Smash as their last card, we're pretty toast, but we're just going to not play around that. Okay, well, We successfully did everything we wanted to do. We're at a little bit of a low life total, but I think we're actually in good shape now. I'm feeling a lot better. So we can get Bandar and Automaton down. And then what's my blocking situation like? I think we got to hold off for a little bit. We're at 9 life, so we're okay. Opponent's got 1 card. We definitely have more cards in hand. And I think that we can take the late game. So we got to keep some blockers back for now and just relax a little bit and get our bearings here. So we're going to just play Bandar and Automaton and then pass. Okay, so our opponent is just trying to make their patrol bigger. We're going to kill the servo here. Even though it does make the patrol bigger, I don't really care because I can just put another counter on my brawler or block with the skiff. So it's not a huge deal. It does give them a revolt trigger as well, but we're not really in a position to take a bunch of damage here. So I think we are just going to move a counter to the brawler so that it can block the patrol if we need it to. And I think we're still in like just hangout mode here, right? So let's just play the Gear Smasher or the Guide. The Gear Smasher can keep the Chaser and the Inspector back, so I like that more. So I think, is it time yet to just attack it? We're getting there. I think we kind of want to. So let's attack with the Skiff. Because we're going to have to get damage in at some point here. And then we'll play the Gear Smasher. Cancel that, just in case we need to. Oh, well, I guess we can. I guess we can. We can play the Gear per Guide, but the Gear Smasher, like I said, actually keeps the Chaser back, which I think is important. No attacks, that's good. Can move a counter. We're not going to, though, because our Bandar is our ideal crew candidate. So we can play the Gear per Guide here. We're getting close to lethal, very, very close to lethal. So we'll play our Gear per Guide. We're going to activate our Skiff again. So if I hit here, +4, that's 9. Takes our opponent to 6. And then I can toss an Automaton at him. So we can kill him next turn here if I use the Rampage. But we can kill him next turn with the Rampage regardless, so we don't really need to use it right now, do we? No. Especially since it's going to be more out of nowhere if we do it this way. mean, I guess we die to... Well, we don't die to destructive tampering, although it is close. Okay. So what we can do on our turn... And this is actually fine too. We can just chump it and then toss it at my opponent's face. But what I was going to say is what we can do on our turn is actually activate Skiff in response to the Scrounging Bandar trigger. Activate the Skiff, put the counter on it, and then just kill them with Rampage. But like I said, if they attack with the Patrol, we can just chump with the Automaton and throw it at our opponent's face. They still don't attack, so we go upkeep. Oh, I guess that doesn't quite work, does it? I mean, our opponent's still dead, so it doesn't matter, but we actually can't activate the Skiff and still put a counter on it, because you have to do that at the beginning of your upkeep, so a little bit of a problem there, but that's okay. Move 0 counters, draw. Activate the Skiff. Attack with the Skiff. Invigorated Rampage. And then we'll pass, actually. And granted, we could kill our opponent right now, but I just want to see if they cast any more spells or anything. Because we can just sack an artifact at will now, or use Welder Automaton. So if they want to concede, they can concede. Otherwise, they can try and show us more cards. I guess we are a little bit behind on the clock, but it's not significant. All right, they conceded. So, pretty fortunate victory there. That Lifecraft Awakening came up huge. We needed them to not have anything so we could take out that freighter ASAP. I still don't think... They're playing a Reckless Fireweaver, which would indicate they have at least a few artifacts in there. But the only one we saw was Renegade Freighter and a Servo token, which I guess does work with Fireweaver. Yeah, maybe they are just... The only reason I'm bringing it up in the first place is, are we supposed to be bringing in more artifact removal, like Natural Obsolescence or something? My gut says no, but because we already have Appetite. And Obsolescence, besides the Freighter in that game, really did not have a great target. And against an aggro deck like what our opponent's doing, I think something like Obsolescence could end up actually being more costly to us than... more bad than good, potentially. So something like Torch Gauntlet seems worse to me. Like, I'd probably rather have like a Precise Strike. I'd rather have something that defensively for 1 mana can do a lot, rather than something that makes me offensively better against my opponent. Because like I said, they're very aggressive looking. So protect spells for 1 mana can be really good, actually. So I think we're going to swap these two out. But Invigorated Rampage I want to keep because I guess you can potentially still use it defensively, but it also is just a card that can win the game. I'm not a huge fan of Lifecraft Awakening in this match, but it did come up big there, and it can be a defensive spell. It did come up really big that game. Like, it just basically, it won us the game. Not even basically, it did win us the game. It took out their biggest threat and then gave us a win con. All right. My opponent's asking me why I didn't kill them on my turn with the tap guy. I'm actually not going to answer them. I'm not trying to be like a dick or anything, but I don't want to answer any sort of strategic question during a game. I can certainly answer them after the match is over, but I don't want them to know why I would. I mean, if they don't know why I wouldn't want to kill them on my turn when they're at 1 life and I have 2 means to do it, then I don't want to tell them why. This hand is awesome, by the way. We get to go Bandar into Revolutionary. Turn 3, 3/3. Turn 3, 2 3/3s. So we're going to have a great start here. Apprentice a little bit late, but it's actually not a big deal because on turn 4 we can go. Well, I was gonna say we can go with we can go. I was gonna say we can go Gear Smasher Apprentice, but we might actually have to go Apprentice Automaton unless we get another red mana. Take our 2. Killed it with Shock. Okay. That was a pretty good play for them. So, options now. We're not going to get any value off Revolutionary. And if I play Automaton and Apprentice, it actually is dangerous if I block with the Apprentice and they kill the Automaton. So maybe we just play the Gear Smasher. But if we're going to play Gear Smasher, I guess we just play Revolutionary. So we'll play Revolutionary for no value. Okay. So there's another target for our Appetite of the Unnatural. So here we're going to go Gear Smasher plus Apprentice. I'm not playing the Automaton for a couple reasons. It doesn't make best use of mana. And we can still play it next turn to buff our Apprentice if we need to. So that is good. Okay. Druid of the Cowl is a good draw, so we get to go Automaton, swing for 2, play Druid. So we're a couple resources away from double automaton use in a turn, which is good. Opponent's got one card in hand, but they do have implement. Not sure what they're saving it for yet. I guess they've just managed to have a play every turn, honestly. So their last card is obviously a very, very good one. So we're going to double block it. I'm not happy about it, but that's just the way it is. So, all right. So our guy's weaker now. We still can hunt the weak using our revolutionary if we have to. But I don't really want to take 3 points of damage here when they've got a threat that I'm going to have to deal with pretty quickly. All right, draw land, pass, do nothing. I don't know why they're not cracking their implement. It's strange to me. So we'll crack back for 2. We're definitely losing this race, if that's not already obvious. I guess you can do it any time, right? I would still do it on my turn. Because what if you get something you want to play, right? Yeah, so that didn't make a ton of sense to me that you would wait on the implement. I mean, what if you drew a Revolt card? You'd want to be able to do it on your turn. So, not a huge deal, but just sort of an odd way to do that. So am I bringing in a takedown for a Dawn Feather Eagle? To be honest, I don't really want to. All right, so we play the implement. Crack the implement. Well, I guess we can attack with an apprentice first. Play a land and pass. So we've got 3 turns to deal with Eagle here. So if we can rip a skiff, we can take out the Eagle. If we rip Hunt the Weak, we can do it. Prey Upon does it because of the Revolutionary. So we do have some real outs here. Appetite for the Unnatural would at least... I guess it wouldn't buy us a turn, would it? No, it would. No, you only gain 2 life, so it wouldn't. Alright, so lost. So, drew too many lands. We're playing 16, so ideally this doesn't happen as often as it I don't know, as it should, I guess, with like 17. It's not hugely statistically different, but I usually enjoy to play 16 lands just to minimize this problem. We did just get crushed by Dawn Feather Eagle like way too many turns in a row. I'm not going to show them Blossoming Defense because we're dead anyway. But yeah, we got smoked there. So yeah, now the question is, do I want to bring in Creeping Mold? Because there's another aura. Opponent just doesn't care about showing us cards, so that's interesting. This is a highly, cannot stress enough, highly winnable match. So I really hope we can get there. Do I want to bring in Creeping Mold? It's so clunky, but it does deal with too many enchantments that really need to be dealt with. So I think I might bring in the Creeping Mold here. Like I said, our opponent mulliganed that game, so us losing really was completely contingent on drawing land after land after land, which kind of happened. So what do I not like in this match? Verdant Automaton's pretty rotten, but we're already at 14 creatures. Takedown just for an eagle seems like a mistake. That's the only flyer we saw, and granted it did kill us, but we have other ways to deal with it that are more versatile. I do want to bring in Creeping Mold, I think, though. We just saw enough aura removals, and I guess the Siege modification too, although Siege mod's going to do its job. That's much more where the appetite comes in, I think. I'm not a huge fan of bringing in Creeping Mold here, to be honest, but because it's so clunky and our opponent's aggressive. But I need to deal with those auras. I guess I do have Blossoming Defense and Appetite. You need Blossoming Defense right at the moment they cast it, but my problem with Creeping Mold is just so clunky. It's such a clunky card to play against an aggressive deck. All right, I think it's too slow. Even though it does deal with a lot of targets, I feel like I'm just gonna play this game, and I'm gonna be really unhappy to see a Creeping Mold in my hand. So let's just run it back. So we'll play first. Sand's a bit slow, but we'll keep. All right, so opponent mulls to 5, which is a good advantage for us. So I am going to run out the Infiltrator and hope that I get one turn to cast Blossoming Defense. It's not like an emergency if we can't, but it's worth it to get this Infiltrator out. So hopefully they don't have third land aura or shock, I guess. Okay. Well, that's good news for us. That is good news. So we can attack with Infiltrator, play Skiff plus Implement, leave up Blossoming Defense. Guess it's a bit of a telegraph when you don't use your implement, but not necessarily. Maybe I was playing around something. I don't know. Okay, so we get to defense and protect our guy here. Get that hexproof going. Okay, so now we're just bashing down hard. We get to play Sailback, activate Skiff, swing for 6. So now we can implement our Sailback, and they don't even have a good block. We could also do it here, but then they can double block. And we can just activate Skiff. So let's implement our Sailback. We'll go land. Activate Skiff with the Infiltrator. Swing for 8. They have to chump. Or they die. And then we'll play Druid and pass. Okay, so we'll activate the Skiff once again with the Infiltrator to get that extra damage. And then we can swing with everything. All right. Cracking the implement and digging. Harpooner taking out the Sailback. So they're at 3. So we can kill him. We go Apprentice, activate Skiff with Apprentice, and then we attack with all 3. And then whatever is unblocked will kill them with Precise Strike because they're going to be at 2 life with the Infiltrator. All right. So we got the match. Beat aggro, which is cool. But our opponent did mull to 5 this game, so we had quite the advantage there for sure. All right. Hopefully we can be as successful in rounds 2 and 3. We'll find out. We'll see you then.